Hi guys, it's Femi here. Today is Tuesday, May 18th, 2021, and I just wanted to share a dream I had about another BTS member receiving the gospel. And so the BTS member is Jungkook. And what I remember how the dream started was he was talking with a family member. It's like he was hanging out with a family member who was older than him, and that family member was with his child, with his son who was about 11 years old. So I don't know if the family member was a cousin or what, I don't know, or his brother, I don't know. But that family member was a Muslim. And it's like the family member had been a Muslim for a while now, and Jungkook had a lot of questions. It's like he was looking for, I don't know if he was searching for God or he was just curious or he was looking for something to give him peace. I just got those vibes from him. But he just suddenly became very interested in hearing about why his cousin turned to Islam, and how his cousin feels about God, like everything. So his cousin was now telling him about Islam, that Islam is, is religion of peace. Islam is the way, is the path of God, and all these things. And while I was watching them and listening to them, like, they couldn't see me at that time. As I was listening to the cousin talking about Islam, my spirit was just so disturbed because, of course, Islam, like all the religions of this world, they are false, right? There's only one way to Christ, to the true God, who is Jesus Christ. So, but like, as the cousin was telling Jungkook about Islam, Jungkook was receiving it almost like he didn't even need much convincing or so. Like, he was like almost like he was just desperate for something to make sense to him, that something about God to make sense to him. And the way the cousin was telling him about God, it was like the cousin was really happy with Islam, and in the cousin's mind, like, the cousin had found peace with Islam or something like that. Like, the person was just truly convinced, like his cousin was just truly convinced, like Islam was the right way to reach God and everything. So as my spirit, like, it got to a point where I couldn't take it anymore. I just suddenly like and by the way, this place they were hanging out was like out in the open. And in the dream, the picture I'm using here on this video, this is the hairstyle that Jungkook had in the dream, and he was dressed casually because he was just hanging out with his family member, right? And they were outside because the 11-year-old child was like playing around. He was just like walking around, playing around. So I don't know if they were in a playground, I don't know where they were, but it was a place where the child could just run around, and they could, like, as much as they were interacting, they could also keep an eye on him and make sure he wasn't going too far, like, or doing anything dangerous, that kind of thing. So I just suddenly like materialized and like joined their conversation, and I was just like boldly telling them, but like it was more so to Jungkook, because it was Jungkook that was really, it was like there's this desperation he had in his heart, seeking after God, like was looking for the true God or something like that. So I was just telling them that no, Islam is false. Like I was like exposing Islam and everything. That it's not the way that, and like God never brought religion and everything, blah 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 blah. Like a lot of similar things that I said in my other video with the dream about 3 BTS members getting saved. So the dream just said it now turned into me like explaining how Jesus came into the world, him being God came into the world in the form of a human being. He took on the form of flesh and he died for us and everything. And the more I was speaking, because at first, like when I started intervening in their conversation, the cousin just gave me this weird look, like, but he didn't, for some reason he didn't argue with me. And I know, like, in real life, the Muslims that I've encountered, like many of them are very argumentative. Like it's only maybe a couple of them that would just actually sit back and listen. But the cousin, he just gave me this weird look, but he didn't argue with me or anything. And I was just like boldly like telling them, like, no, Islam is not the way, Islam is a lie, Jesus is the way, like blah 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 and everything. So the more I spoke, the more interested they were getting into what I was saying. So I now went back to Genesis, and I started telling them about the fall of man and everything. And I don't remember like as detailed as my other dream, but I was just telling them about the Bible from Genesis to the end. So as I was going through the Bible, other people, as I was preaching to them, other random people just started joining in. Like, it became like a sermon. They started joining in, right? Just people from, I don't know if they were walking around and they just heard me and they just joined, but it became like maybe a group of 9 or something like that. And they were listening intently, like they were receiving the message as well. So it got to the point where Jungkook, like, he didn't want to forget like what I was saying or something like. And by the way, I was preaching in English, so I don't know if he was receiving it to Korean. Like, I don't know how they understood, but when Jungkook and his cousin were speaking, I knew they were speaking in Korean, but I understood it in English. And this is a dream anyway, but I understood it in English, even though in real life, like, I can read Korean, I can write Korean, but I only understand and speak very little. So but I understood like perfectly their conversation, and they understood me too when I was speaking in English. So I don't know if it was being translated in their minds in Korean or what, but Jungkook suddenly took out a notepad, and he was writing, a pen and a notepad, and he started taking notes. Like, he was serious, like his face, like he was like, whoa, I have to take this information down, like I can't afford to forget anything. And in my mind I was wondering, like, dude, don't you have a phone? Like, what? How come you're not using your phone to record or whatever if you want to remember? But when Jungkook did that, after a while his cousin did the same thing. His cousin too took out pen and paper and a book, a notebook, and his cousin too was taking notes, like writing down the Bible verses I was saying, and writing everything about, because I was like also exposing Satan. Like, Satan is the ruler of this world right now. Like, he's the one that has been influencing people and deceiving them into false religions and all these things. Like, so I was talking about the Bible, and I was also talking about reality, right? Like, what's going on in the world. So when they did that and they were taking notes, the other people too, they also started taking notes. So like, everyone started taking notes, and nobody used their phone to record what I'm saying, but they were just writing furiously, writing, and I could see specifically, I could see Jungkook and his cousin, their notepads, and I saw that they were writing what I was saying. So like, they were taking it very seriously, and as I was talking more, they were receiving it, and like they were nodding, and even at times smiling and everything, receiving everything. And every now and then they will have questions, and I'll answer their questions, even though right now I don't remember the questions. But next thing I know, I stopped the sermon, and when I stopped the sermon, I saw that, I don't know, this is just a dream, but when I stopped the sermon, I saw that there was instantly a computer beside me, and it was a desktop computer. So when I stopped the sermon, I turned to the computer, and it was like the computer was recording, or I don't know, it was somehow it had recorded everything I was saying to them. And I don't remember at this point whether it was a video file or audio file. But when I recorded it, it gave me the options save, delete. That was what appeared on the screen. And when that appeared on the screen, I suddenly saw other people, like they look like bodyguards, but I knew they were evil. And it was like, when I was about to save it, it was like they wanted one thing. They wanted to destroy the file. They wanted to make sure I didn't save it, and they wanted to make sure Jungkook didn't believe what I was saying. Like, that's what I got when I saw them. So I was not rushing to save it. I now click save. I now showed them. I showed everybody. I pointed them to look at the computer, and I told them, guys, this is this folder. This is the folder I'm saving this information in. So make sure you save it to your phone, you email it to yourselves and everything. That's what I was telling them. So I was showing them the folder, and it was a desktop, and it was like there were already things on the desktop. Like, so I don't know whose desktop it is, because I don't use a desktop in real life. I use a laptop. But there were already like different things. So I don't know who owned it or whatever, but I was looking for the folder where I saved it, and I'll show them. I said, guys, this is the folder. By the way, it looked like a Mac desktop, which I don't use. I don't use Mac, but my brother does. So I said, this is the folder and everything. So they were like, okay, that they'll email it to themselves. And I was keeping an eye on the people that were trying to destroy the file. So when I saw the time, I looked for the time, how long I spoke on the file, and it was exactly 1 hour 11 minutes. I don't know why it was like, why I was curious about that, but that was what it was. I had preached to them for 1 hour 11 minutes, and one of the last things I said, like I remember saying, I don't know what they asked me. They had asked me something, Jungkook and his cousin, and my answer to them was Satan. Maybe they asked me something like, but why do all these religions talk about all their gods? Like, why are there so many gods and everything? So I started telling them that Satan is a master counterfeiter. And he's always counterfeiting and perverting everything God does. And Satan cannot create life. He cannot create life. So he cannot actually bring anyone back from the dead. He only deceives, right? Because there's only one who gives life and who can create life. Jesus is the creator, and he's the way, the truth, and the life. So Jesus is life. He's the one that gives life. So Satan cannot give. Like, that's what I was like. That was the line I was speaking about. And then I wrapped things up and ended the preaching and the sermon. So I just remember feeling encouraged that Jungkook actually, he believed what I was saying, and he received the word of God. Like, he received the gospel, he received the preaching. But because the dream ended, I don't know if he actually confessed Christ to get saved, like, confess Christ according to Romans 10:9-10. So, but I was just hopeful that, he received the gospel and he believed what he was hearing, him and his cousin and others. And what's interesting is that in my other dream about BTS, remember, only 3 members got saved, remember, right? But Jungkook was the only other member who, although he wasn't like interacting, he was listening. Remember that? So I just found that so interesting when I woke up and I was thinking about it, that he was listening to me preaching to the other members, whereas Jungkook, Jin and Suga and Taehyung, they didn't care about it. They were not interested at all. They were not interested. But Jungkook was interested enough to listen, but not interested enough to like ask questions or actually go deep or get saved like how the other members did. So I just hope that encourages you all to keep praying for them, that they all come to Christ, because there's nothing impossible with God. So I just thought, wow, it was just amazing and encouraging that to have this kind of dream, because after I had the dream about BTS and Monster X, I hadn't had any other dreams about any other K-pop idols or group receiving the gospel or getting saved. The other dreams I've had about other K-pop idols, they were all demonic. Like, the idols were like witches or into doing witchcraft rituals and all these demonic things. Like, so I didn't even bother making videos about that, because I only wanted to make videos about them actually getting saved or receiving the gospel or something along those lines, that will encourage you all to keep praying for them and know that God hears your prayers and he's answering your prayers. And it wasn't like I was thinking about Jungkook or BTS, because I don't follow them, right? I don't follow their news. I don't even know if this is the hairstyle that Jungkook has in real life currently. I have no idea. But after the dream, I went to look for the hairstyle I saw in the dream. I just searched for Jungkook hairstyles and found the one that was in the dream. So love you all in Christ. God bless you all. Keep praying for them. Don't give up, okay? Bye.